Hello and welcome to the Canada Immigration Matters YouTube channel. Today's topic is the reason for Canada Visitor Visa refusal. If your Canada Visitor Visa application is refused or if you are planning to apply for a visitor visa, then watch this video till the end. Today's video is very interesting and very special because I will discuss the common reasons for visa rejections and how to avoid these rejections so that you can get your visitor visa approved on the very first attempt. A common question we receive from applicants is this: what are the reasons that lead to the rejection of a visitor visa? Now, let's be honest, Canada Visitor Visa has one of the easiest requirements as compared to other visa categories. There is no requirement to prove language proficiency. Furthermore, the processing fee is just $100 plus $85 for biometrics. However, the refusal rate is also higher for visitor visas because of many reasons. Sometimes these reasons seem unfair or illogical, but still, the onus is on applicants to make sure that their application addresses these reasons in a reasonable and logical manner. You also need to know that visa rejections depend on the discretion of the visa officer and how they perceive your application. Another thing is that you should always remember is that in the case of a Canada Visitor Visa application, you are not going in front of a visa officer personally. You just submit your application on an online portal or a paper-based application. Therefore, submitting the right information in your application is very important as the visa officer will take a decision based on the information you provided on your application. This is where most people make mistakes because the visa officer is limited by the information provided on the application. So the chances are very high that if you don't provide the right information, your application can be rejected. So, if you are applying for the first time or reapplying for a visitor visa, always ensure that your visa application fully addresses the common reasons for refusal that you will see in this video. Keep on watching till the end. Let's start with Canada Visitor Visa refusal reasons. The first reason is very common and most of the time is usually given by the visa officer for the refusal. That is inadequate paperwork. Refusal to grant a visa may occur if applicants fail to provide the necessary paperwork or fill out applications in full. This includes the failure to include any one of the following: travel history, letter of invitation, proof of relationship, family information, itinerary, and account statement. Therefore, inadequate paperwork would result in a failure to satisfy eligibility requirements because it is expected that those who apply for a visiting visa without providing the necessary documentation, such as proof of financial support, risk having their application denied. The same thing goes for information that is incomplete or inconsistent. Any discrepancies or inconsistencies in the information supplied on the application form or in supporting papers may result in a denial. So, all the information in your application should be consistent with each other. Lack of strong family ties to your home country is another common reason for visitor visa refusal. If the applicant lacks strong enough ties to their nation of origin, they pose a danger of overstaying their visa, and the visa officer may reject the application. Again, this is now mostly considered for younger visa applicants. If your visitor visa application lacks strong ties to your home country, which means whichever country you belong to, you have weak ties to your home country. If your roots in your home country are weak, you will most probably get a refusal. You will get similar reasons for refusal such as: I am not satisfied that you will leave Canada at the end of your stay as a temporary resident as stipulated in paragraph 179B of the IRPR, based on your country of residence. So, if you get a similar reason for refusal or you are applying for a fresh application, then you need to know how to tackle this refusal reasons. There could be many reasons for your weak ties to your home country. One of them is if you don't have a good job. In this case, the visa officer may think that since the applicant doesn't have a good job back home, so the applicant is likely to stay in Canada beyond the expiration of their visa. The second reason for your weak ties to your home country could be that you don't have children, parents, or grandparents, which can lead to your weaker ties back home as well. If you have a business that is well established and operational, then the visa officer may think that you will return back to take care of your business after your visit to Canada. If you don't have property or any asset in your name, then the visa officer may think that you can stay in Canada beyond your visitor visa expiry. So always remember that if you have any property or any asset in your name, you should provide those details in your application. If you don't have these things in your application, then your ties to your home country are weaker, so if the visa officer is doubtful about your back home ties, then there are high chances that you will get rejection. This is one of the most common and most important reasons for approval or rejection, so always try to provide adequate and complete paperwork. So always try to provide all these details, whatever is applicable to you when you apply for a visitor visa for Canada. Let's move to the next reason. Strong family ties inside Canada are the exact opposite of the first reason we just discussed. This means that many people from your family are in Canada, which shows your strong ties to Canada and weak ties back home. In other words, you have weak ties to your home country and strong ties to Canada if all your siblings, your parents are in Canada, all your kids are in Canada, or your extended family is in Canada. Basically, the visa officer would be thinking that this person has very strong ties to Canada because his or her whole family is in Canada. Why would he return back to his home country? So, this could also lead to the rejection of your visitor visa application. Let's move to the third point, which is very important. The absence of travel history is another important factor that visa officers consider when deciding whether to approve or reject your visitor visa application. Those who have little or no prior travel experience may be seen as flight risks, and their visa applications may be rejected. This reason becomes the basis of refusal, mostly for youngsters. However, if you are a parent or grandparent of a resident of Canada, then this may be overlooked by the visa officer. Let's take one example here. Say, for instance, if the applicant never traveled outside of his home country, the visa officer thinks that he never traveled throughout his entire life. Why does he want to travel now? This could lead to visa refusal. Alternatively, if an applicant has traveled as a tourist to different countries like the UK, UAE, India, or the USA, then the visa officer thinks as he traveled to different countries in the past, he will return back to their home country after their stay as a tourist to these countries. So, there are more chances that your visitor visa for Canada will be approved and you can come to Canada. Purpose of your visit. This means why you want to come to Canada. Applicants must have a good cause for traveling to Canada, otherwise, their visa request may be turned down. Usually, a visitor visa is approved if the applicant is traveling to attend a ceremony in Canada and is formally invited to it. Let's give an example here. If you are planning to come to Canada without any particular reason, then there are high chances of rejection, and the visa officer will provide you a reason for rejection. Alternatively, say for instance, that you are coming to Canada to meet your family or friends. It means that you are coming to Canada for a special occasion, like a wedding or marriage ceremony, wedding anniversary, housewarming party, or to take care of a pregnant lady or someone is sick in Canada. Other reasons could be an engagement ceremony, a business trip, or you want to come as a tourist. Then you need to provide all these detailed information. Let's say it's someone's birthday party, then attach an invitation letter. If it's someone's wedding, provide a wedding invitation card. So, if you provide all this detailed information, then there are high chances that your visitor visa will be approved. In short, you need to provide full detail stating why you want to come to Canada. Otherwise, if you fail to provide it, there are high chances that your visa will be rejected. Financial status is very important, and refusals are commonly given based on this reason. Visitor visa applicants must prove they have sufficient funds to cover the expenses such as air tickets and the cost of staying in Canada. An application may be turned down if they cannot show that they have enough money to afford their stay in Canada. If you fail to provide the required financial documents, then the visa officer may refuse your application. So, you get a similar reason that I am not satisfied that you will leave Canada at the end of your stay. Because you need to prove that you are financially capable and have enough funds to sponsor your trip to Canada. To prove that you have enough money to finance your trip to Canada, you need to provide the following documents. First of all, provide income tax return statements of the previous 2 to 3 years that show how much amount you earned and how much tax you paid in the past. Secondly, show the bank statement of the previous 6 months, which provides information on where this money is coming from. Do not deposit money at once, just to show visa officers, because visa officers are very smart people. Do not provide them with fake information. The next point is to provide your payslips. If you have other assets like property, mutual funds, etc., which have market value, you can provide them as proof of funds. If you are retired, show pension proofs and a retirement certificate indicating your pension. In short, you need to show that you have enough funds to pay for your ticket and travel to Canada, or if you want to explore Canada as a tourist, make sure that you have enough funds, so you need to provide proof for those things. Let's move to the next reason for visa refusal. Employment status. In the previous section, we discussed that you need to have enough money to sponsor your visit to Canada. It is also very important to provide information about the source of this money. Therefore, you need to provide details of your stable employment or business, including how long you have been working. Additionally, you should obtain a leave of absence certificate or a no objection certificate to submit along with your application. This will strengthen your application further, as the visa officer will see that you are taking days off from your stable job and plan to return to your home country after your trip to Canada. You should prepare your application from the perspective of the visa officer. If you are self-employed and have a shop or store, provide relevant documents with your application. If you own agricultural land and your profession is farming, then provide relevant documents related to that as well. Unfortunately, if you are unemployed or not working, there is a high chance that your application will be rejected unless you prove otherwise, because the visa officer may reason that they are not satisfied that you will leave Canada at the end of your stay. Proposed length of stay. On a visitor visa, someone can stay for a maximum of 6 months inside Canada. People sometimes state in their application that they plan to stay for 6 months, which is the maximum allowed under the visitor visa, and this can make visa officers suspicious, potentially leading to rejection. For example, let's consider a scenario where your reason for visiting Canada is to attend a marriage ceremony, a birthday party, or a business trip. It is evident that these events don't last for 6 months, so you need to provide a length of stay that aligns with your purpose of visit. If you are going to attend a marriage ceremony, provide a length of stay of no more than 2 months. When you want to visit Canada for a specific reason, provide the relevant proposed duration, as this increases the chances of approval. Let's now move on to the next point, which is your host, or your inviter's documentation. The host is the person who is inviting the applicant to visit Canada. A common mistake is missing some vital information in the letter of invitation. A letter of invitation must include certain pieces of information as per IRCC. If the applicant does not provide or miss some of that information, then they may face a refusal. Therefore, you need to provide the host's documents and details as well. If the host does not provide sufficient documentation, the visa officer may deny your application. One of the most important documents the host needs to provide is the invitation letter. A poorly written invitation letter can lead to a refusal, and this is a major reason for many applications getting rejected. Having a well-drafted invitation letter increases the chances of approval. The host also needs to provide the following documents: proof of funds, such as a notice of assessment or bank statements, and their immigration status in Canada. This could be a PR card, citizenship certificate, work permit, or student permit, whichever status the host has inside Canada. Relevant documents should be provided. Applicant's age and marital status. If an applicant is between 18 to 25 and is unmarried, and on top of that, they have relatives in Canada, and they are also unemployed and not a full-time student, the visa officer may reject the application. The visa officer may think that being young, the applicant may work in Canada and may eventually find someone to get married to, leading to the possibility of settling in Canada. In such a situation, obtaining a Canada visitor visa may be difficult. Misrepresentation. Do not make the mistake of misrepresentation. Provide all the required details and documents according to the instructions. Sometimes, people withhold information or hide some details, and this can lead to application refusal. For example, if you had applied for a visitor visa for the US or Canada in the past and it was denied, and now, after a few years, you apply for Canada's visitor visa and claim that your previous visa was never rejected, it could be considered misrepresentation. US and Canada share immigration information, so the visa officer will likely discover this discrepancy, leading to the rejection of your current visa application. Honesty and full disclosure are crucial. Another aspect of misrepresentation is submitting documents that do not appear authentic or providing falsified or incorrect information to the visa officers. For instance, submitting a fake job letter or false work experience can have severe consequences. If the visa officer detects such fraudulent documents or information, you could face a fine. Consequently, you may be barred from coming to Canada in the future as well. Let us discuss other reasons that can lead to the rejection of your visa application. Firstly, if you have a previous history of overstaying in Canada, it can be a reason for rejection. Secondly, having an illegal status in your country of residence can also result in refusal. The third reason is inadmissibility. Applicants who have medical conditions that endanger public health and safety or criminal convictions may be denied entry to Canada and their visa requests denied. Meeting the health requirements is essential for visa approval. The fourth reason for rejection is past visa denials. If applicants who have already had a visa to Canada denied in the past, and do not address the reasons why their application was refused, may be rejected once more. So, it is important to address the previous reason for refusal in the new visa application for you to have a better shot at approval. Furthermore, if you have a history of human rights violations, it can also result in the rejection of your visa application. These are some of the most common reasons that a visa officer may give for rejecting an application. However, it's important to note that there can be various other reasons for rejection as well. It is crucial to ensure that you follow all the guidelines and provide accurate information to increase your chances of obtaining a visitor visa on the very first attempt. What you can do if your visitor visa application was refused. If your Canada visitor visa application is refused, it can be disheartening, but you do have some options to consider. Review the reason for refusal. Carefully review the refusal letter and understand the specific reasons provided by the visa officer for the rejection. This will help you identify any potential issues with your application. Reapply. In most cases, you have the option to reapply for a visitor visa after a refusal. Address the issues mentioned in the refusal letter and make sure to provide any additional supporting documents that may strengthen your application. Appeal, in some cases. Depending on the type of application and the specific circumstances, you may have the option to appeal the decision. However, appeals are usually allowed for certain types of immigration applications, and there are specific timeframes and procedures involved. If you wish to appeal, it's essential to seek legal advice or consult with an immigration expert to understand the process and your chances of success. Apply for restoration. If you had a temporary resident status in Canada, example, work or study permit, and it expired while your visitor visa application was being processed, you might have the option to apply for restoration of status. This allows you to regain your legal status in Canada and then reapply for the visitor visa if you choose to do so. 5. Consider different options. If your visitor visa application is repeatedly refused, you might want to explore other pathways to visit Canada. For example, you could consider applying for a study permit, work permit, or other types of visas if you meet the eligibility criteria. 6. Seek professional Canadian immigration advice. If you are uncertain about the refusal or the best course of action, it's wise to consult with us at Chugo Immigration Service. If you need assistance to process your visitor visa application, we can provide personalized advice based on your situation and help you navigate the process effectively. Remember that the decision to approve or refuse a visa application ultimately lies with the Canadian government, and there are no guarantees of approval. It is crucial to be honest and provide accurate information in your application and address any concerns raised in the refusal letter when reapplying. That's all we have for you today. So, if you like this video, please share it with your friends and do subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.